So let's look at the 4 validities and ethics for the small n designs. In terms of internal validity, it can be very high if the study is carefully designed. So remember when we talked about multiple baseline studies, that was one of the, the reason for a multiple baseline is to be able to address some of the other kinds of threats for validity, particularly things like history and maturation. So there are things that we can do. You need to be careful, right? You need to recognize what else is happening at the same time. So for example, if you're looking at attention behaviors for a 9-year-old and your baseline is in October, November, or early November, and your treatment period is in late November through the end of the year, you may conclude that your intervention is ineffective because you haven't removed some of the confounds. For example, kids tend to have much more difficulty concentrating and attending over the holiday period. External validity, it may be problematic, depending on what we're trying to do. And so you have to be aware of some of those limitations, and maybe follow-up studies are going to pursue those kinds of issues. Do some replication. Construct validity can be very high if we're very careful about definitions and observations. Often we're not really interested in statistical validity. It's not always relevant here. Now let's think about if we know that there is an effective treatment. So for example, if we have, if we're working with a man who was ruminating, throwing up small amounts of food throughout the day, and we knew that there were things that, that our reinforcement strategy did seem to work. Would removing it be ethical? Especially if we know that it's not generalized or not generalizing, so his behavior was very much dependent on whether or not there was a reinforcer there. On the other hand, is it ethical to treat without assessing effectiveness? So probably not. We want to respect persons and respect their autonomy. We want to be making sure that we're doing good and not harm. And we want to be fair and just in terms of what we're doing. And so we don't want to just do it. We want to make sure that what we do is effective and, not going to be harmful. And frankly, some interventions that people have used, initially people thought that they were effective and that they would be helpful. For example, the radical mastectomies that surgeons believed that this was a really good way of controlling cancer. And it wasn't really any better than anything else that they had, and had other kinds of problems. So I'm going to end here, and I'll see you I'll see you in chapter 14. Take care. Bye-bye.